Hey, this is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com. It's Friday, November the 16th. This will be our price action chart lesson for today. I'm actually doing the lesson a little early today. It's only about 1:30 my time here, Central Standard Time. But my son has they're still playing football. They're in the state playoffs, and they've got a playoff game tonight on the road, and it's a couple hours away. So I'm going to be going to watch him play tonight. So I'll be having to get out here a little bit early to make the travel. And so I'm going to go ahead and do the chart lesson now a little bit early. It's been a really interesting day, and it looks like it's really just going to turn out to be a trading range day, and you can kind of see that. And it's a little bit difficult to see right there, but if I scrunch this up, I think it makes it very obvious that we had a range yesterday, and these highs are really almost those same highs from yesterday. As you can see, they stretch across here for today, and on across here like so. So, those are really, and actually if you do it off the closes, you can see that's exactly kind of where we're at today. But I like to do it off today's closes. And you can see what we had. We've got a little range here. We had a failed break off the low side, failed break off the high side, and both led to, this failed break lower here led to a big reversal. And really this reversal, this big, huge move out of here, let me get rid of this crossbars. This big move out of here was a direct result of unscheduled news, I guess is what I would call it. Congress came out and made a big statement that, the financial crisis or the economic cliff that we're facing is not nearly as steep as everybody originally thought. I don't know if I agree with that statement, but needless to say, it rallied the market. And I've seen this happen many times when the market gets to a critical low. We're really getting down to it's hard to see it right there, but we're really getting to a critical low point, 1340. Probably that's probably the lowest point we've been since a long time now. And, we've been continually moving lower for the most part. You can see it wasn't very long ago. We were at 1430. So 100 points higher. What's the date right there? On November 7th. So only, since the election, the S&P is down 100 points. And, for whatever reason, call it what you want, the market's sold off since the election. So, and what I guess where I was going with this is I've seen this many times before. And when the market starts selling off, we'll hit a critical new low point, and they'll come out with something, and this thing rallies like crazy. It wouldn't surprise me if not only when they announced that they didn't start doing QE buying, start buying the market with QE money, and you see that huge spike up, and suddenly everybody's scared to be short, and everybody exits out of fear that they're going to be, give all their money back or lose a lot of money because they're short, and the market starts rallying. And generally, a move like that will lead to a rally. And we may get a little two-legged correction here and another leg up because I do see. But it's looking like we're going to end in a range day today. And there's leg one. You can see leg two is actually oversold a little bit based on that first leg. So nobody knows exactly what's going to happen, but that's what caused this spike right here that brought us out of that. If we'd been like the last few days, once we broke lower here, we probably would have pulled back, retested, and continued on and made another leg down from here that's equal to this leg right across here. But today we got the news, unscheduled news, and we rallied from there. So interesting day so far, to say the least. But let's go talk about the trades. Okay, had a slight interruption there, but let's talk about the trades. And you should have gotten your first trend line here from the overnight off those first two swings right there, and that would have easily set you up on these other trades down through here. And we had really a double top off of, from over here. You can see that. And that kind of set up the downtrend. You had to be thinking we're probably going to come back down and test these lows, and that's exactly where we went and then bounced. But let's talk about each trade. Um, there was actually a long right here, but it was, let's see, it was right after the market actually opened right in here, and we broke lower, and it's really not a good setup to go short right there, but there was a setup to go long right here. Let me just show you. But I didn't mark it because, you know, we're selling off, and you got one leg down right there, and then you got a second leg down. We didn't quite make a measured leg, but you see we bounced at this support here. You know, with that much sell-off coming down through there and that being that negative, you're better off to wait on a short. So draw your trend line, and there's probably a channel here. I didn't even put it on there. Let's just see. You didn't really need it. And you see there's a channel there, and we kind of started drifting, made a dump. We broke it right here, made a retest, and then tried to go higher. And but this was really the first real break, and generally you're going to get a new low, and we ended up doing that. And again, I honestly think we would have went lower here if Congress hadn't come out with some crazy announcement that was unscheduled, you know, just out of the blue. But that's neither here nor there. That kind of thing is going to happen, so you got to always be prepared. So always be prepared, and you know, based on the fact that this is a kind of a trading range day, I bought this low. You know, I wasn't looking for us to necessarily. I wasn't looking for this. I had no idea that was going to happen. So I got lucky. Sometimes you just follow the rules, and you know, I just follow the price action rules. We broke to a new low below this kind of double, triple bottom here, and you know, it almost always snaps back. You know, this is why we don't sell breakouts. I guarantee you a lot of people sold right in there, and that's another reason this thing rallied. But I bought right here, and look at that. I mean, you know, like I said, I didn't know that was going to happen. I just got lucky. But I was following my rules, say, hey, most breakouts are going to fail. You got a narrow double bottom, break below this double bottom, and then it actually sets up as a broader double bottom, and then it breaks below it. And we've already had a trend line break and a move to a new low. So what usually happens, usually rally out of that. And again, I didn't expect that kind of rally. I really thought we were going to pull back and test this and go down and make another leg, because that's what we've been doing. But that's why you have to follow the price action, and you have to take the trades. And, you know, this is why we keep runners, for this very reason. And, wow, what a trade. But anyway, we're not even talking about that trade. We're talking about this trade. This was a two-legged pullback to the trend line, and again, you know, there was a long here, but it's risky. You're better off to, you know, don't take those risky trades. You're better off to wait on the with trend trade. And this is why I'm always, you know, preaching stay with the trend, because you enter here, your runners are safe easily. So, and it's just I mean, it's straight down. It's easy, and you get a chance to add on right here, and if you miss this one, you can get in right here. And this was not as pretty a setup as this one. I love these reversal type bars, and this one ended more of a doji, but it's coming off the trend line. It's really a breakout pullback short from this kind of support across here too. But it's coming off that trend line. You ain't had a break yet, so if you break below that, there's a good chance we're going lower down to test these lows. And you see we broke right on through that, kind of started bouncing around, and we did break the trend line here, but you got another reversal type bar. It was worth taking that, thinking you'll test this low again at the very least, and that's exactly what happened. We bounced out of there. It's really too early to be looking for a long here, but if you saw this little trap and took it, there was a long right there. It worked out easily. Then we went into all this mess, and this one was tricky because we had it failed second entry short, but the trend is down, and we really hadn't had a retest yet. So you got to be careful. You could consider that a retest, but that's not a very good one. You're generally going to get another test of that's going to make a new low, or another try at it, since this one did not go very far. So they wanted to take it up, and they just couldn't do it. And you actually could have gone short below that little. Let me make this bigger. Below that little doji, because look, we got all this overlap, and this is just a failed breakout. and it tried to go higher, and I actually tried to get short with a limit order there. Couldn't get it filled though, and you know, I ended up going short right there, and I had my stop above this, and but then we got another chance, and you can see that's a very negative bar, and you could have got short right there. And this is some overlap, but you got a double trap, kind of a double top there. It's a failed break out of this stuff. You're looking for a move down to retest these lows again anyway. And so this was a pretty good setup. You know, I would have liked to not seen the overlap there, but I actually got short before you got any overlap. But this is a second entry short here off these highs. You got your first entry, pull back, second entry. And it's hard to see on this chart, but if you went to a smaller chart, you'd clearly see two leg, you know, a double top and a second entry short and all that good stuff. And it was, you know, off to the races here. You didn't get to hold a runner on this one, unfortunately. They came back and got it if you got in below this bar. Of course, if you got in where I got in, then you survived, but you didn't survive this one right here. They came back and got those runners. But if you, depending on how you played it, you know, if you gave your runners more room, you were able to ride this all the way down to lows. And when this overlapped right here, right these lows, I just exited. Could have got a little more, but I just, you know, I'm not going to be greedy because you never know that it doesn't bounce here like this right here. So take your money while you can. And you see it did go maybe 32.50 to 40. So, you know, I gave up a point or two right there, but you can't always get all of every move. So, you know, if you get most of that move, you did good. So then you got a chance. This is your failed break below your kind of a triple, double, triple, a small double bottom and then a broader double bottom. You break below it, especially when you get this overlap. And when you start to see this overlap way away from the EMA on a failed break lower, there's a good chance that's coming back to test this and probably the EMA. And you can see it tried to hesitate and turn down there. And then suddenly this news came out. And whew. So, but this is a nice long right here on a, you know, what's kind of been a choppy range type deal. You know, we've kind of been ranging with lows across here all week. You can see them all across there around 44, 45 area and 40, 43, and then we broke below it, and you go long right there. And if you didn't take this one, you know, it's really hard to enter right here. I doubt many people got lucky and entered there. If you did, it probably was not really a good entry because if it hadn't been for the news, which you knew nothing about, this wouldn't have probably happened. It probably would have broke up here and snapped back, and you would have been trapped at the highs, and we might have made another leg down. And we may get that leg down before it's over. You know, this might have been all for naught. You know, we'll just have to see. But this was the place to enter, and this is why I'm telling you, follow the rules. And if you had them, you could have gotten. And you know, your runners are easily safe here, and you get to ride this all the way, you know, up. And I actually exited up here. I actually exited when we broke above that, and as soon as that started reversing. You know, you want to get short right here because, you know, I still don't know what caused this. I know something happened, but I don't know what it is because there's no scheduled news. But I know, too, that it tries to take most of that news back real quickly, and we're way overdone. So this is a pretty good short here. It's a failed break above those highs. You got to figure we're at least coming back to the EMA and probably the trend line. And so a nice, easy scalp. Didn't get anything more than that out of it. And then when you get two legs back to the EMA and the trend line, and you know, you got to think about going long again now, and especially with that bullish leg, the odds are you're probably going to get another leg like that. There's leg one, so there's your target for leg two, and look where we went, and then we sell off. Went a little bit higher than what we got here. Actually, you know, I might could have got that a little longer. Let's just see how close we were to a measured. And you can see we went we went a point or so higher. But that's, you know, you got to be thinking if it comes up here to right here, you're going to get out right in here anyway. And that's where I exited, right in here where the resistance was. And there was actually a short possibly right here, but when you come off a failed break lower like that and rally like this, there's a chance you can go a lot higher and you hadn't had any trend line break till here. So then you got to be thinking, hey, with this bullish bar, I gotta get long. But this is not a great setup. You know, a lot of times you get two legs back and then you get a correction. But if you saw this and took it, it was worth taking because it's the first break of the trend line and it would have worked. It wasn't good for anything but a scalp. But I marked that one in green because I didn't like that setup because you actually could have had a lot of people getting short here and we could have got another leg down. And if you went short right there, it was probably okay because I exited. I did not go short there, and I wouldn't recommend going short there because there's been no break of the trend line, and you see we did go higher. So you never know if it doesn't pull back here and bounce off the trend line and just keep going higher either. So not a good place to really go short, even though you've got a high there. You got to figure you're going to get resistance there, but it may take a couple of times to get through it, and you see we had to fight a little bit, and we finally got through it. And then there's a chance to go short. But let's talk about the other long right here. There was a long right here as well, and notice this. We got a new low, a first entry short, a lower high, and a second entry short. But you don't want to be going short right here. These are not good short setups. You would have at least waited until this negative bar and see it never broke lower below that. But even then, we haven't made a new high after this trend line break, so it's not a good place to be going short. Even if it sells off, you got to kind of wait and see. So what's more apt to happen is you get a failed second entry short like we did right here, and you got to go long on that because then we're probably going to get a new high. And you can see that's exactly what happened. Just exactly like our price action rules tell us. Wait till you get a break of a trend line, but even then you're still looking for longs until you make a new high. And you get this new high, and this is the setup I'm always telling you about. Notice these two overlapping bars. It's a new high. And now that you got this double top here across here, it's definitely looking like a range. And this is on range days, you fade every new low and you fade every new high. And there's your new low. There's your new high. You go short right there. If you didn't do it right here where I did, I love these setups, and I'm short from the very high of the day right here. Didn't get one of those setups down here, but I got this one right here. And sometimes you don't get filled, so then you got to just enter with a stop. But, I'm short from right here. And that allows my runner to be good when they come back to get the runners here. My runner's good. If you entered here, let me see. I think your runners are good even if you enter here. Yep, you can see that you would have survived by 1 point right there. Those runners, trying to come back and get the runners, and so you'd still be short and could still be short because we may continue on down. But now we got, like I showed you a minute ago, we got those two kind of measured legs there and a little bit overdone almost. So, but let me show you. You should have your trend line on here. I'm not trading anymore. I'm wrapping it up, so I don't have one on here. Well, I would call that your trend line, and we've already got a little break, so we may go higher from here. It wouldn't surprise me. Just follow your price action if you're still trading. By the time you see this, the market will be too late. The market will be closed, so we'll see what happens here. And you probably can verify this line by seeing what we get across the bottom. Yeah, and you can see that looks pretty doggone good. So that gives you your low side, a little overshoot. So we may go higher from here, but you may get a good short here any second now. So, but anyway, then the market, you're short here, so you could still be riding it down, but you get a chance, another opportunity right here. This is a great setup. You get two legs back to the trend line, a nice one of those reversal bars. It actually kisses off that. My line's not straight there because it actually kissed off that line of that double top coming across there and turns down. So that's the place you want to go short, right below that bar. You're able to get in at 55, and you can see you could have ridden that all the way down to the low side of the channel that you could have easily had. As soon as you had these two, you could have copied this and drug it down this low, and you know exactly where to expect to exit. And what I will do if I'm in this trade and I'm looking to exit on a bounce, I just start finding where these bars are dropping, and I usually put my stop one tick above the bar where it's going to touch, and if it doesn't touch, I'll do it to the next bar. You know, you may get to drop that on down. This one, as soon as it hit, it reversed, and so you don't want to be going long down here, though. Really, you could, because there's two legs back. There's, you know, this is one of those I'd circle green, because right now we're trending downwards, and it's dangerous to be counter trend trading. So I don't think I would have taken this long here, even if I was still trading, because it's just dangerous to do that. But anyway, that pretty much does it for today. It's all just standard stuff. You got your trend line, you get a break. This one was a little bit more interesting because we went a lot higher than you would think you would go. But that's why you usually, you know, unless you get a good reversal type bar, which that kind of looked like one, but you know, we got a lot of bullish movement. You're all above the EMA. Now you know, you got two overlapping bars. This is not a great setup. You want to see something more like that looking bar, or, you know, I show you these bars that have the big stems on them. Look at that reversal bar right there. You want to see something like that, or you want to wait for there's a trap like right here, and there's another one of those bars right there. That's kind of one. This is almost one, but you haven't had a break of the trend line. There's one. That's the kind of bar you want to see, and you know, if that turns into one right there, you know, it's probably a short right there. So but anyway, back to what I was saying. You get your trend line, you get your break, and they don't always go this far and before they make the retest, but you know, that's why you follow the price action and wait on the good setups. And once you went into all this overlap, you got to be careful, because even here, you know, it looked like it was going to be real bearish, and that's why you don't sneak in early. You got to wait, you know, unless you're able to get in right up here at the high. You don't try to sneak in on this bar when it's looking negative way down here, because look what happened. It fights its way back just before the close, and it closes up here, and then you just got overlapping dojis. And so you definitely don't want to be going short below that one, and then by the time this one forms, that's really bearish looking. But, you know, look where you got to get short, way down here at the lows, and it could bounce again, and that's what happens. And so now you got all this overlap, but when you get this failed breakout, you know what happens. It's going to snap back. So if you can get, the higher you can get short up here, the better, because then you get a better stop, and you got room to get out before it gets back to the EMA, because it's probably going to bounce, and you can see it had trouble getting through that EMA, and then it fights it a little bit, still keeps trying, and finally they give up and off it goes. So just remember the rules, and then you got this uptrend, and you get your break, but you're not looking for a short until you get a new high. And see, this one went up a lot quicker than this one went down, and so you never know. But you got to wait on the good setups, and that's why I'm saying don't be looking for a short in here. Look for a long, but make it a good long, because even here you had a second entry long. Look, you're coming back. You got your first entry, you got your second entry, but by the time it's there, you got 1, 2, 3 overlapping bars, and it's just not a good setup. And you see what happened. It breaks out of there and snaps back. But then you got a trap, because you got two. Once it's tried to go lower twice, you got a failed second entry short that reverses, and then it traps everybody, and then it gets enough momentum to get out of there. So watch for that stuff. And you see how that didn't really set up a real good short right there. You got to wait on a good bar. And, you know, so I wouldn't be wanting to go short here. But if this one goes down and the ends on real negative, maybe you got your setup there. So we'll see what that does. You might want to look at that. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com. And hope everybody had a good trading week. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time.